Am I the asshole for not going to my brother's wedding? Hi all. I'm a 21Y, female and I'm not going to my brother's wedding and I need you all to tell me if I'm the asshole for it. My brother is 24. For some backstory, I struggle with my mental health. Severe anxiety, severe depression, COVID-19 made that so much worse. My brother moved out of home back in 2019 and we used to be really close until he moved out, but I was also close with his now fiancé. They both used to text me constantly, ask me how I was doing etc. etc. We used to call and even hang out, but then lockdown hit and we could only FaceTime, call each other. I was one of the first people told that he was proposing to her. He sent me the ring before he showed anyone else and told them, we were really close. I was also really close to his fiancé. They got engaged, and the texts slowly faded from her side. She would only text me once a month, maybe twice. I thought, oh, okay. Planning a wedding, gonna be busy, and then one day the texts just stopped. I kept texting, I got no response. Come around to a year before their wedding, all of the bridesmaids are announced, and I'm not one of them. Okay, cool, it's their wedding, they can do what they want, I'm genuinely not arsed. Groomsmen are announced, and my boyfriend is a groomsman? Which is odd, because as far as I'm concerned, my boyfriend and my brother have never had a one-on-one conversation in the entirety that I have been with him, 6 years almost 7. Me and my brother had a huge argument about the way he's treated me recently. No texts, no calls, not being involved in the wedding whereas my partner is? And my brother blamed it on my mental health. Okay, fair one, it's a bit of a shitter but I can't help it, I just work around it. I recently got a new job after being laid off due to COVID. I'm really proud of myself and I wanted to tell my brother. He literally didn't even say, I'm proud of you. He just said, cool, that sucked but moving on. Okay, hand medium light skin tone. I don't want to go to this wedding. I don't want my partner standing up there in a tie that won't match my dress. I don't want my partner having photos taken with bridesmaids all matching when I won't be. I don't want to sit in a church watching my brother get married and pretend to be happy about it when all he has done for the past year is belittle me and belittle my mental health and use that as a weapon against me. Throughout all of this, my boyfriend was hospitalized and almost died twice. He's fine now, thank God. Neither of them reached out to either of us to see if he was okay. His fiancé hasn't texted me at all, hasn't replied to any of my texts or picked up my calls. Am I the asshole? I probably am, but I'm just genuinely really hurt. Edit. My boyfriend hasn't accepted the info of being a groomsman. He's basing it on how I feel because he isn't close to my brother at all and even he thinks it's weird that he was asked. Now I have this new job, I could afford anything they needed to. The wedding is in a year. Edit X2. Thank you all for the comments. I should have added more backstory, I guess. Here's more. You change your opinions if you want. My parents were going though a lot last year. They were so close to divorcing, which is why my brother and I were a lot closer. During the lockdown, I was my mother's confidant. She came to me with every problem about my dad and put a lot of nasty opinions in my head about him. She had no outlet so she used me, and my brother didn't think that was cool. He was concerned about my mental health, which is why we're texting a lot more. I was not aware that my mother was also using my brother as a confidant, and when things healed up with my dad, I was still left with a lot of trauma and unresolved feelings, hence the diagnosis with depression and anxiety, which in turn was a catalyst for a lot of problems with my mother. We used to argue constantly and she would text my brother, who is the GC, and like she did with me and my dad, she swayed opinions. I'm not using this to justify anything at all. I am aware of how mental health affects other people and not just the person with the actual mental health issue. I am just putting this as more history as to why mine and my brother's relationship could have become estranged. It's not just about the texting or anything, it's about the way he makes me feel. He constantly belittles me in front of the family despite knowing how much I struggle, and honestly me wondering whether I should go to the wedding is just an accumulation of everything he's ever said and done to me over the past year. I'm just tired of being belittled by someone who is supposed to love me. My brother asking my boyfriend to be a groomsman was not an olive branch, it was a deliberate dig from both him and his fiancée. Knowing that I felt upset about not being told something I already assumed. Because we had had a conversation prior to him asking my boyfriend about the entire thing and he was super nasty about it. IDK if any of this makes sense, but I'm coming to the conclusion that I asshole, and I'm just gonna suck it up and go. I have no judgment because this is bizarre. My suggestion is to tell your boyfriend to decline the groomsman ask. Go to the wedding. Get some free food, show face, leave early and let it be for now. It'll all come to a head eventually, but if you try to take a stance right now you will look like the asshole and probably won't be able to rationalize it to your family. I can't tell you if not going to this wedding is gonna make you the asshole or not. But I guarantee you that not going to the wedding is gonna make you look like an asshole to your brother and other members of the family. This wedding isn't about you, but it is truly bizarre that they would include your boyfriend in the wedding party and not you. I would go to the wedding but ask your boyfriend to just be guest and realize that you can no longer rely on your brother for emotional support. I would also ask your brother to stop letting your mother come between the two of you. I mean, technically it's an invitation and you're allowed to decline for any reason, but you sound like a total brat. I'm sorry you're struggling, but if your mental health is super bad, then it wouldn't make sense to ask you to help them out. If you've been unemployed for months and just recently got a job, then it would have been rude for them to ask you to shell out for hair, makeup, shoes, purses, parties, gifts, etc. that goes along with being in a bridal party. If you're not fit for it, then why would they ask you to do it? To be petty and cause drama over their wedding is childish, and to leave your poor boyfriend in the mix like that? Yuck. You are the asshole, because of why you're not going. You are the asshole. Unpopular opinion, you're making this all about you. I'm sorry, but their relationship, their wedding, and the world doesn't revolve around you. Stop trying to make yourself the center of attention. You are the asshole. It's your brother's wedding. If you don't want to fuck up your relationship with him forever, you need to go. My guess is that this has much less to do with you than you think. Info. Has your mental health negatively affected relations or events with your brother? So, you're not going to go to his wedding because he hasn't been communicating with you as much over the past year after getting engaged, and trying to enjoy the next stage in his relationship. You are not the center of his attention, you are not the center of her attention anymore. This is your brother, a year of your relationship shifting is nothing. Sounds like you want people to cater to you because of your issues. That is not their responsibility. You are the asshole. Would I be the asshole if I push for the $10K in child support that I'm legally owed? My social circle is pretty small, but the advice I get from the couple of close friends I have is that I should take him for all he's worth, that I'm too nice, etc. But they're also good friends, and potentially just being supportive no matter what. So I'll just get to the specifics, I guess. We have an almost 10-year-old daughter together. I'd known him since high school and we had a great relationship for a solid 3-4 years. The instant I became pregnant with our daughter, he did a 180, 360, oops. Quit his job within the week, spent all of his time escaping inside video games. I grew up gaming myself, so I get that somewhat. Reality sucks. Depression exists. But I was left working 2 jobs to support us while pregnant, while he spent 2 years fucking around and consistently cheating on me. His reasoning, and still to this day, is that I'm selfish for not meeting his sexual needs during that time, because men have a biological need for sex, and I should have catered more to that if I expected him not to cheat. I know that's a long backstory, but I filed a child support order in the beginning that I've ignored ever since. I've tried to work things out with him without involving the legal system. There was even a period of time where, when he was paying child support, I cashed the checks and gave it all back to him to help him catch up on payments. Our daughter doesn't want much to do with him, and I don't blame her, really. The few weekends she spends with him, he dumps her off on whoever will take her. He blames me for this, assuming I talk badly about him to her behind his back. I don't want to ruin his life and make it even harder to have an honest relationship with his daughter. They could take his license, send him to jail, etc. if I follow through with this. It's been almost a decade though, and nothing has changed. I have nothing but apathy towards him now personally, but I'd rather not drive the wedge between them even farther if I can avoid it. Edit. Lots of valid points already here. Thanks for the perspective, Green Heart. Edit 2. I'm really happy for the encouragement in going forward with legal action. For those offering legal advice, I especially appreciate that too. Unfamiliar territory for me. To clear a few things up before this gets out of hand, when I was returning his payments to him, it was very early on and he seemed to be making an honest effort to spend time, contribute. Obviously things have changed since then, which is why I'm considering going forward with this. My daughter has everything she needs for now and hasn't suffered financially. I'm not Stockholm syndromed or stuck in some fantasy dream world where he'll magically become a good father. She still wants his attention, it's clear that she wants him in her life. He reciprocates once in a while, but not often enough. I don't want to ruin him, but I'm conflicted. That's all. Edit 3. Oh shit, I didn't expect this. I wish I could reply to all of you. I'm reading every comment though. So many orange things. I need to get ready for work, but I shall return. Edit 37. I'm gonna take another stab at trying to explain my reasoning. Just because I want people to understand where I'm coming from, and it's getting super taken out of context with some of these replies, I think. When I returned those payments to him, it was because at the moment I was the one that owed him money. I was the useless parent at that time. I got quite depressed for a year or two, and he was technically the primary caregiver. Although again, it fell to his family more often than not to provide. But all I could contribute at the time was giving it back, and spending time with her when I could. This was the exception only during that period of time. Only during that time. This was about 8 years ago, so things have very much changed since then. I only gave back when it wasn't my right to take in the first place, or so I felt. I intend to pursue the order, but I'm trying to get some feedback before doing so in case I'm in the wrong here. I'm not defending him, but I am trying to provide both sides of the coin the best that I can so that I can get genuine answers. You should do it, but not as revenge for your breakup, do it for your daughter's future. I can all but guarantee that one day she will need that money. Edit. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Do it. He's not using his license for anything productive anyways. If he goes to jail because of his own incompetence as a father, so be it. They don't send you to jail for missing one payment, so if that's on the table, this is a much bigger issue than you seem to realize. You're not responsible for him. You are, however, responsible for that child, and you owe it to her to make sure she's provided for. She's the priority. Fuck that guy. Not the asshole. Girl. WTF. You've been way too nice to this man. Literally, why do you even feel bad for him anymore? It sounds like he doesn't give a flying fuck about you. Not the asshole, your daughter is owed that money. Life out there isn't getting any easier, and taking away from your own daughter isn't going to help her. Put the money in a trust for her for college. And, for the record, no one on the planet will drop dead if they don't get sex. This biological need for sex excuse is complete bullshit from him and gaslighting. Do not let him guilt trip you into thinking anything that happened over the past decade was your fault. It's all on him. You are being way too gentle on that guy, and he's taking advantage of it big time. Not the asshole for pursuing child support. However, as you note, there will be trade-offs that you will also have to try to figure out. Not the asshole. I agree with another comment here that money could be crucial for your daughter's future. Not the asshole, don't deprive your daughter of that money. I know someone like you. They didn't want to go to court and were concerned that doing so might cause her ex to have even less to do with the kids. Now all 3 of her kids are grown up, all have large student loans that will take a decade to pay off, and none of them have a good relationship with their father anyway, which isn't surprising because deadbeat dads by definition don't care about their children. You can't make him be a better dad. That's not your responsibility, nor is it in your control, but you can make him pay for her college education, and that's something that will be of immense benefit to the entire rest of your daughter's life. That I'm too nice. No, you aren't too nice. Child support is not your money, it's your kid's money. You were literally taking money from your child to give to your ex-boyfriend. And there's nothing nice about that. You are supposed to advocate for your daughter, protect your daughter, give your daughter the best life possible. Not prioritize the grown-ass man over her. Am I the asshole for not wanting to cook for Sil's son's birthday party? Throwaway for obvious reasons. Not a native speaker, so excuse me. 24F. Work as a chef at one of the famous restaurant chains in our city known for its delicious food. We used to work non-stop all the day as our orders, were really high, pre-pandemic. Needless to say, but our restaurant closed down during this lockdown and I'm staying home. I really love cooking and I enjoy it so much. As I have lots of free time, I do try out many recipes and upload vlogs often. My sister-in-law's, 25F, son's first birthday is coming up soon and she asked me if I was willing to do cake. Obviously, I said yes. The party is gonna take place in my in-laws' house, which is like 2-3 hours drive from where we are, and it's been a long time since we saw each other. Yesterday, she called me again to ask if I can cook for the party. Overall, there will 10-13 person at the party. All vaxxed. I wasn't sure at first. She told me she'll help me and gave me a list of what she wants. It was around 4-5 main traditional dishes with 3 side dishes and along with some cupcakes as desserts. I said it was too much even for both of us and asked her if we can order from outside. But she insisted she wanted my cooking as our family loves to eat my food. I told her I'll call her back later. I gave it a thought but in end, I didn't want to. First of all, it's for more than 10 people and the dishes she gave requires 3–4 hours for prep plus actual cooking, which means I've to get there earlier than the others. Second, she told me she'll help, but she will slack off in the middle and would always ask obvious questions even if I give clear instructions. Happened before. Third, I'm already preparing the cake, so I feel like it's more than enough. I texted her back I didn't want to. She then vented out to my partner and told him that I'm not cooking for his family even though I've cooked before for my family. My family is comparatively small than his. Seems like she expressed that the whole family is disappointed with my behavior. It was frustrating when my partner confronted me and I told him that I'm already doing the cake and it feels like she's just using me. I stated my above reasons but he still wants me to cook since my cooking is delicious and they all love it. I straight away told him that I'm not his family's personal chef and if they want to eat, they can gladly order out. He is still mad I guess and has been passive-aggressive the whole day. So am I the asshole? Edit. Wow. Huge thanks for all your responses. I just went through your comments and suggestions. Few people asked if she offered to pay for my service. No. As much as I know, she won't. Also I hope she'll buy the ingredients, if not, it's obviously no for me. I'm not sure but there's a chance of her bringing up the topic, of splitting the bill. I won't let her to do so. Also some suggested to make a list of work to be done and send it to her along with the costs. It's actually a great idea. So I'm thinking of sending her all the workloads to be split up between us, or else I've to get professional help. The cost of ingredients, pay of sous chefs, caterer, if hired and as well as mine. I'm not gonna charge them for real. But just for the context to scare her lol. Overall, I'm gonna make sure that I need extra hands and pay in advance and if anything changes, I'm not doing it. I'm also sending the list to my partner so that he knows how much work is needed and that he shouldn't take me for granted. As you all told, she wants me to work for free, which I can't. So I guess me sending her a huge list along with the costs will be a surprise. So I pretty much accept her to back off and order out, hire people. Not the asshole. That's a huge favor to ask of anybody and you're totally within your rights to say no. Your sil and partner are being completely unreasonable. Not the asshole. If you have to start prep at home, you would need to even do the shopping. I wonder if she expects you to pay for the groceries as well. It's smart of you to say no. If you continue to get pressured, don't make the cake and don't attend the party. Not the asshole sil is entitled and asking you to do a ton of work. Partner is also an asshole for not supporting you when you've already agreed to make a nice cake, which also takes more time than people think it does. Not the asshole. And because you're a chef, they should listen when you say it's too much. You'd know better than they would. Not the asshole. I'm assuming she's also expecting you to bring a gift for her child? That makes you a guest, not the host. Also she may be offering you help now but who is going to do the prep and set up for the party? I would tell her that you are already doing her a favor by doing the cake and you would like to enjoy the party and not do all the work. Also this may be a cultural difference but I have never heard of having such extravagant food for a 1-year-old's birthday party. Not the asshole. This isn't just cooking for family. An event this size, with the variety of food is a catering event. It's unreasonable for her to guilt you into this. Stand your ground, establish borders. Your sil is the type to take a mile when offered an inch. Not the asshole. It's really rude of them to ask you to cook for the whole party, let alone dishes that require so much prep work. Your husband and his family are acting really entitled. Your sil is piggybacking this dinner party onto a birthday party for a 1-year-old? You would be working all day, not attending a party as a guest. Please. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for continuing to park somewhere when I know it is annoying the neighbors? So we'll start from when I realized this was annoying the neighbors in our street. 2 nights ago me and my partner were lying in bed when she received a message on Facebook from someone neither of us knew. She opened the message and it was a neighbor explaining that someone had been out and placed a sign on my car. The sign was printed out of a computer and it said, "No parking here." So my partner continues to talk to this neighbor, who is actually a really nice woman. She started to explain that she has witnessed groups of people standing in our street talking about me and my partner and the neighbor that was messaging in her partner for parking where they think that we shouldn't. We live in a cul-de-sac and there is only one entrance and exit with about 30 flats and not enough parking spaces as nearly every flat has 2/3 cars per flat. So sometimes when there is no spaces we park where the bins are located on the way into the cul-de-sac. There are bollards in front of the bins to stop parking there, more on this later. So we park on the pavement behind the bollards so as not to obstruct the cars that are entering and leaving the cul-de-sac. So my partner continues talking to the neighbor on Facebook and it becomes apparent that the street as a whole have created a Facebook group and left a few different people that live in the street out. They've left out the people that rent their house and don't actually own it. So this neighbor managed to get someone to add her into the group to see what was being said and had screenshots from the group of all the people who have bought their houses saying for parking there we are all rude. Also someone said they had tried to approach several people parking there politely, when what actually happened was the women came out of the house shouting and screaming saying, "You can't park there." In another post in the group, because the cul-de-sac is run by a factor they have said that they specifically themselves paid for the bollards and they own them. When we pay factor fees in our rent for the flat and the factor placed the bollards there. Anyway, since all this has started I have made it my mission to park at this place they hate me parking at even when there are spaces to prove the point that there are no parking restrictions where we stay and that they cannot and will not try and bully and intimidate people who rent their property instead of having purchased their flat into somehow being an inferior human to them. Edit. Just so that everyone understands, when I say behind the bollards I am not meaning physically behind them between the bins and the bollard. I mean behind them as in nowhere near them, but behind them if you were facing them as you were walking in you would see the bollards walk past them and then it would be my car. Also when I say a pavement it is not a true pavement. It is more of a path as an access point to the bin hut, brick walls where the bins are enclosed with the bollards in front. It is a wide path so I park in a way that allows a lot of room for people to walk past with bin bags, and room on the other side for cars to enter and leave. I'm not obstructing anything. I think I may have confused a lot of people by saying behind the bollards and using the word pavement as that's the only way I could describe it. It's not a pavement in the sense it is there to stop you walking on a road and it's there for pedestrians to stop them getting hit with cars. We live in an enclosed space that pedestrians don't come into. It's not a route to get anywhere, just our housing development. You admit. I have made it my mission to park at this place they hate me parking at even when there are spaces to prove the point that there are no parking restrictions. So you know you are the asshole. What do you hope to gain? Do you seriously think it will become a non-issue? It will blow up in ways you haven't even thought about. People are whacked about parking spaces. Don't be that dick. It sounds like these are not parking spaces, so you are the asshole for parking in something that is not a parking space. And once told it is not a parking space you continued to park there just to annoy your neighbors. I'm confused. You're parking on the pavement? You are the asshole. Info from the sound of it: when you are parking behind the bollards your car is then positioned between the bollards and the bins, is this correct? It sounds like this means your car is obstructing access to the bins. In which case I would have to vote YTA. You are the asshole, you are parking in a space that is not a parking space. Whether there is a restriction or not, it is not a parking space. You know it annoys a large number of your neighbors yet you do it anyway. Why not try to get along with your neighbors and park elsewhere when there are available spots? You are the asshole big time. Aside from being petty and juvenile, you fail to realize parking spaces are actually dictated in a cul-de-sac regardless of your opinion. You said there is a car park, so that means you're parking where you're not supposed to. I'm also assuming it's a WA which a renter is not a part of and does not pay fees towards. You're overstepping and acting like a petulant child about it. No wonder they have a group excluding renters. Just a little FYI for you, as a renter you don't own anything. Your rights end at your front door because that's the space you're renting. When you say pavement, does that mean a place where pedestrians are meant to walk, what we call the sidewalk in Canada and the US? If that is the case, you are the asshole. You are the asshole. I was going to go with Esh, but then I read, I am obstructing half of the pavement. And that switches things for me from everyone sucks here to you are the asshole, as I can see why people would get PO if someone was continually obstructing half of the pavement.